community policing grant. So therefore that meant that I was hired specifically to do community policing. And that meant that I was blessed enough to go through all of the federal courses that they had at the time in the United States for community policing. So the only thing that I really knew was policing from a community perspective. So as I worked my way up through the ranks, I eventually became a chief of police. I took over a town that wasn't even in the top 25 in my state of South Carolina as far as safest cities or anything like that. And the one problem was there wasn't a great relationship between the police and the community. And I knew that that was something that I immediately wanted to jump into head first and try and make a change in the community. And how do you do that? You do that by listening to the people. As police, we don't know the answers. And we don't know the problems necessarily that are occurring in the communities. So how do we figure that out? We communicate. How many citizens do we have in here that are part of the Community Watch program? That are not police.
Not community watch,
Not police officers. Not police officers.
not police.
Okay.
For the community watch.
Okay. So I just want to give you a round of applause. Everybody give it a round of applause for doing that. This is the group of leaders in the community. This is the very first step to mending that relationship between community and police. It's not a us versus them syndrome. This is a togetherness of the community and the police. As police, a lot of times we forget we work for you. You are our boss, okay? We may have a rank structure, a hierarchy, but in essence, we work for you. What problems you encounter in the community are what we have to try and resolve. And we can only do that by working with you. Let's just say there is a rash of burglaries or there are a bunch of assaults that are occurring in the community. And as police, you only have 5 police officers that might be on duty at any given time. But yet you have a community of 10,000, 20,000, or maybe more, maybe even less people. But you only have 5 police officers. Those 5 police officers are not going to see everything and anything that occurs, and honestly it's very rare that they catch a crime in progress. You have to have a little bit of luck when it comes to that type of thing. But what we do have, if we partner with the community, if the community say is 10,000 people, we have 10,000 extra sets of eyes and ears that are out there looking and telling us things. So as police, 5 now becomes 10,005. That is what community policing is all about, okay? We partner with the community and make sure that they tell us what their needs are. If they report a crime to us and it's a violent, dangerous person, do not burn your source where the information came from. If one of these citizens put their life on the line to come tell us that the dangerous gang member lives at this house in this location, do not tell anybody that's where that information came from. It's so important to protect the citizens, especially this group here, because they're on the front lines now. You put yourself out there just the same as police. You are a partner of the police. You are an extension of the police, and they should be treated with the utmost respect. And in the community, you're the person who's going to mediate things. So as police, I used to, as a police chief, what we did is we were number 28 in our state as far as being the safest city, which is terrible in my opinion, okay, out of 50-something cities. So what I did is I got with the community members and we held community meetings, we held community forums, and we asked the citizens what were their problems, and we shut our mouths and we listened, and we stepped back and we took notes. We took those notes and we put them all together from the different neighborhoods and the different communities, and we saw a pattern. We saw certain things. Drug use was a problem. Property crimes was a problem. We started seeing truancy with youth during the summertime when they're not in school. We started seeing juvenile crime on a rise. We saw these things. So what did we do? We got with the citizens and we created community-based programs to resolve some of those matters. For example, we had a rising elderly population that was alone a lot of times inside of their homes, and they were just in fear in general. Their perception was that crime was through the roof, crime was out of control, but the reality was it was not. So what we did as police is every single day we went and checked on those elderly people. We knocked on their door, but we couldn't go to every single door. So what we did is we partnered with the citizens and we made sure that somebody checked on them every single day on behalf of the police. So what that was doing was that was gaining public trust. When people went out of town to go on vacations and left their house, we did a community watch program to where we walked around their house 3 times a day to make sure that nobody had broken any windows, nobody had broken into the house. Now, these might not sound like big things, but in totality, when you create 30 or 40 of these programs, and each one of them appeals to a different type of person, you're making the community happier as a whole with the services that are provided. So what that does, in essence, is makes people call the police more, tell the police more information, so you can adjust your tactics. So in about a 2-year period while I was the chief of the police, after creating 40 plus community-based programs, we went from the number 28 safest city to the number 1 safest city in the entire state. And that was not because of me. That was because the community, the citizens and the officers decided to partner with the citizens. And if you don't forget that you work for the citizens, you will be very successful as police officers. Wow. So I commend everybody for being here. I ask you to go out and network and try and make the groups grow. Whole community forums, whole community meetings. Sometimes as police, it's tough to hear the negative. You're going to hear a lot of negative, but I can tell you the citizens will respect you for the fact that you came and you wanted to hear their concerns. Okay? And then the next meeting, when you tell them what you're trying to do to address those concerns that they told you in that meeting, then they're going to see there's progress. And what that does is that creates what I call community capital. Okay? As a police officer, we do all these programs and all these great deeds, and it creates this community capital, and we put it in a bank. Okay? A community capital bank. So when the police officer makes that mistake, and granted, we will make mistakes as police because we're human beings. Yeah. Everybody in here makes mistakes. When a police officer, there might be a bad police officer that uses excessive force. What I had to do as a chief is I go to the bank, I pull out my community capital, and I bring it to the community, and I cash it in. And they would all come to my aid. They would come stand beside me and say, we're standing behind the police department. We stand behind the chief. We know this was an isolated incident. We know this is not a pattern that he will allow, and he will not go without disciplining this officer. And as a community, when you stand behind the police, I can promise you that community is stronger than any other community in your county.
Can we get a word? Word. Give me 1.
Yeah.
Give them 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Give us 3.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So in closing, this is the leadership. You are the leaders in your community. And thank you for allowing the police to come into your community and be a part of that leadership. So continue to partner and bring your ideas and bring every problem you have to the police. They're going to try to resolve. If you have an idea, bring it to the police. The police don't have to be the smartest. We just have to be the best listeners. Okay? God bless y'all, and thank you very much for attending this.